Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to our channel. And today, again, we are here with questions which had come in NATA 2023 Shift 2 paper, okay, which was conducted on 23rd of last month, right? So in our previous video, we discussed the questions related to cognitive drawing test, and please remember that we will be having live sessions for different segments, including data aptitude. Okay. So here, let's move ahead with the cognitive design test, and let's discuss the questions that had come. So I request all of you to subscribe to the channel. Okay, if you haven't subscribed up till now, please do subscribe and also download our app by the name of KPE Classes Exam Prep. And we have very few days left for examination, hardly 10 days to go. So please, you can get in touch with our counselors and you can opt for the crash courses if you want. Okay, moving ahead. So we have the first question. I just want to remind you that we only have the cognitive drawing test, the questions which are related to drawing. We only have those questions over here. So, as we are seeing on our screen, choose any four most appropriate principles which can be commonly observed in the given image. Marks will be awarded only if all the right answers are right. Okay, so we have an image right in front of us, and there are certain principles and elements of design which we have already studied about, right? And you have to find out what is the principle and element of design that we can see over here. So the answer is distortion. uh, we have given you all the options. You can choose any four options. So the options are distortion, okay, repetition, depth, asymmetry, um, contour, and pattern. Now, please remember that a lot of students might get confused. They might think that the question is asking for just four options, but there are more options which seem to be relevant and right. So, what do we do? So, you only have to choose the correct, any four correct answers. You don't have to choose all the answers. We have provided you all the answers over here just for you to, for your understanding. So as we can see, we discussed it in our last YouTube live session also about elements and principles of design and how important they are during your examination, and questions will be asked based on these particular topics. Okay, so we can see there is a lot of distortion in this particular image. The element or the principle of distortion is there in over here, right? The next one is repetition. Yes, of course, we can see the lines being repeated after certain intervals. So definitely there is repetition over here. There is a feeling of depth, although it's a 2D image, but still the way the lines are moving, it is creating the effect of depth, creating depth in the particular image. There is asymmetrical balance, right? As I explained you, what is asymmetrical balance? So in asymmetrical balance, you have elements or visual weights which are similar, okay? Like the left and the right. If you are analyzing the left and the right, the visual weight is similar, but they are not identical. If the left and the right would have been identical, then we would have said that this particular image has symmetrical balance. Okay, but right now in this particular image, we have asymmetrical balance. And also, students who have been taking regular classes, they are very, very well aware about how to pick up the right elements or principles of design. So I will request all of you who are preparing for these examinations, Please brush up your knowledge in terms of elements, principles, color theory, history of art, history of design, history of architecture. These are some of the topics which would be really very important and useful for you. Okay, so after asymmetrical balance, we do have contour, right? And definitely we have pattern. So pattern and repetition, they are the same thing. When a particular element is repeated again and again, we get a pattern. So we can see these elements or these principles very strongly present in the particular image. So here we have the next image. And what's the difference between the first one and the second one? So the first one was mostly 2D, although it appeared to have a feeling of depth in it, but it was 2D, right? And this particular image, we can straight away see there's absolutely no doubt that it is 3D. The elements are very 3D, and in particular color. So let's see what the question says. It says again, four most appropriate principle or element of design that you can see, you can observe in the particular image. So the answers are as follows. The answers are number one, volumetric. Okay, it is a volumetric image. That means it has volume, right? It is not 2D. We can see the volume or the depth in these 3D forms. Okay. C is static. There's no movement. It is stable and static. D again, D is stable, right? What does stable means? That it's very balanced. It does not need any support to stand erect. Okay, it is stable as well as a static composition. Colors, we don't see complementary color scheme, right? Then we have ascending, the feeling of ascending, right, is already there, like something from higher to lower. So there is a sense of ascending over here. Dynamic, we won't say it's dynamic because it's already static, it's not moving. So we cannot have two completely opposite principles over here. So yeah, to sum it up, it's volumetric, okay, static, stable, as well as ascending. So these are the principles that we can very strongly see in this particular image. So the next question would say, what does color do? Pick out the most apt choice. So colors, what do? They, of course, evoke our emotion. They also draw the attention towards them. A particular color would definitely draw attention, right? Or you'll try to focus on it. So the answer is B, can draw attention, have an emotion and psychological effect. We already discussed these things in our previous live session that colors play a very, very important part in our life, and there's a very strong emotional and psychological reaction towards particular color. Colors are also used for communicating certain things, right? So instead of using words, instead of using any phrases, colors are one of the most easiest way to communicate small information like what sort of food you're eating, or is it an emergency situation, or is it a funny situation, those sort of things. Next is, warm colors are usually associated with what kind of emotion, right? So as we know, when we are looking at the color wheel, and also at this point, I would like to repeat it to our viewers that you should be absolutely properly aware about the placements of colors in the color wheel, right? Memorize it properly, understand the placements of various color schemes, and then go ahead. And if you have seen the color wheel properly, you would definitely know the color wheel is divided into two type of colors, right? One side comprise of the cool colors and the other side comprise of the warm colors. Okay, so definitely what warm colors do. So we have some options. So laziness, passiveness, aggression, sensuousness. So warm colors definitely the most eminent emotion that is associated with warm color is aggression. Okay, because warm colors are signified by the reds, oranges, and yellows. And what is red all about? What is orange all about? It is all about anger, passion, aggression, right? So, yeah, those are the kind of emotions that are associated with these colors. Next one, again, we have a particular artwork in front of us. Okay, and there, this is done by an American pop artist, and this is depicting certain things. So the question is, um, what is the predominant color scheme in this particular image? So the predominant color scheme that we can see over here is, what do you see? You see yellows, reds, blue, right? Yellow, red, blue are the first thing that you are seeing, and a very little dash of I'm seeing green over there, but that's very, very little. So definitely, the answer is primary color scheme. Okay, um, it is primary color scheme. Um, and you should always go for the other options also. Always read all the options properly and see what the other options are all about, and then you choose the right one. Okay, basically you need to eliminate the wrong ones. So complementary color scheme, no, it's definitely primary color scheme. What are the primary colors? It's red, blue, and yellow. And we can see that particular color scheme over here. It's definitely not an analogous color scheme, because analogous is all about picking up 3 to 4 colors that fall consecutively to each other on the color wheel. So once again, we have another image right in front of us. Okay. So, again, it says identify 4 most important visual principle in the given two-dimensional black and white composition. Right? So, 4 most important visual principle. What are they? One of the most predominant feature we can see is contrast. The contrast of black and white. Is there a focal point? Yes, definitely. There is a focal point. There, these lines, somewhere these lines are going and converging at a particular point. It is leading our eye movement to that particular point, right? So we have contrast, we have focal point over here, we have convergence. Convergence means, see, he's somewhere, this line or the way it is moving, it is converging at a particular point. And then we have an axis. Definitely there's an axis, and you can divide it into left and right. This is the axis line right in the middle, and it's also providing a sort of asymmetrical balance in it. This definitely doesn't have a symmetry. So remember, as I told you in the earlier question, that either it will be symmetrical or asymmetrical, right? And symmetrical is identical. Left and the right will be completely identical. But over here, you don't see them to be identical. You find them to be, the visual weight is similar, but they are definitely not identical. Moving ahead, so again, identify the 4 most important visual principles, elements in the given black and white photograph. So, what are the elements that we can see? Again, focal point, because this is where you're focusing. You're not focusing on on the sides or anything, but this is straight away where you are focusing. Then we have depth. Of course, it's very, very predominant that we have a sense of depth over here. We do have a sense of, we do have a lot of texture, the texture of the rock, the texture of the water, or the sky. And we have movement. Movement in terms of what? Movement in terms of the line, if you see. There's no contrast because it's very tonal. There is no pattern or anything. There's no principle of datum over here, right? So definitely we have contrast, texture, we have depth and focal point. Analyze these images properly. This is the similar sort of questions which had come in the shift one also, right? Which I had discussed in the first live session, the previous live session before this. Next one is identify the four most important visual element principles in the color composition given below. So there's a color composition right here, and again you have to think about the most appropriate visual elements or principles. So what do we have? Yes, you guessed it right. Texture. Texture in terms of see how the color streaks are looking textured, right? There is texture, there is contrast. Colors are absolutely opposite to each other in the color wheel, right? There is red and there is a little bit of pink, right? Pink or a you can say fuchsia pink, right? So pink is again a tint of red, and red and green fall opposite on the color wheel. So yeah, this is contrast. Then it's curvy linear, right? It's curvy linear, and we can also see there's a little bit of 3D. Although this looks 2D, but the way the colors are moving, it gives a 3D view to us, right? So the answer is again, I'll repeat: texture, contrast, curvy linear, and 3D. There is no grid forming, there's no distortion, there's no convergence or symmetry, definitely is not there. So what are we left with? Those are the answers. Yeah, this one's really very interesting. So identify the name of the established theory of proportions from the image given below. Right? So there's an image of a sunflower seed pattern. Okay, and what is the theory? What is the established theory? That it is following the Fibonacci sequence. Now, Fibonacci sequence is a series of numbers where you basically add two consecutive numbers. Okay, so the next number is found by adding up the two numbers before it. Um, the 2 is found by adding the 2 number before it. 1 plus 1, 2. So the third will be 1 plus 2, 3. Right? Then 2 plus 3, 5. So this is what the Fibonacci series is all about. The sunflower seed pattern used by the National Museum of Mathematics contains many spirals. So basically, this has that particular series in it. It is found in nature as well, Fibonacci series. If you look up to it, then you will find that how certain things are created in a particular proportion, right? They form a particular proportion, and that is what it leads to. It leads to certain patterns which are visually very, very aesthetic. So please read up about the Fibonacci series, and you do get questions related to it, right? Okay. So this is a self-portrait by a very, very famous painter. So it is the self portrait of Pablo Picasso. So, and the title of this particular painting is The Old Guitarist. And it was painted in 1903, just after the suicide death of Picasso's close friend. Also, Picasso is known for Cubism, okay, very minimalistic artworks with lot of geometry, and it was known as Cubism. And his Indian counterpart was M.F. Hussain. M.F. Hussain was also known as the Picasso of India. So look up to their work, try and do a comparison about both the artists, and try and see what their work stands for. Do read about artists and their work, because you will get questions in all the last question papers. We have found that there are number of questions which are based on artists and their work, okay, and what do they stand for. Then another type of questions that I have come across in the paper one, NATA paper one, shift one, and shift two, is that they have shown certain images on the screen, maybe for 30 seconds or 45 seconds, and there are certain questions based on those images or those scenes. So here it is. Carefully observe the cartoon drawn by famous cartoonist. Okay, you can view the image for 45 seconds, after which it disappears, and you have to answer certain questions based on that particular image, right? And it won't be shown once again, so you just have to observe it. This helps you to increase your observation skill. So it says how many people were seen in the image. So when the question is asked, definitely you won't have the image in front of you. So whatever the important or the main feature is, you have to observe it, and you getting a good amount of time. 45 seconds is a good amount of time. So we see a lot of lines, we see a lot of dots. It's completely 2D. There are birds and animals, there are humans over there. So you have to observe it very quickly. Get into the habit of observing images, because yes, you will be getting questions based on it. And these are very scoring questions. Okay. It's not very difficult. If you have studied and if you have strategized yourself well, then definitely you are getting it right. So now we have around 10 days to go for your next NATA uh, attempt of 2023, right? So please prepare well. Whatever points we have discussed with you, prepare them well and study accordingly. And we will be coming up with more YouTube live session related to the aptitude part. So aptitude shift 2 part, we will be having a session very soon. So look out for the space over here, right? You will be getting updates and do not miss them. It is really, really crucial for you in terms of your examination. So I hope this was useful. Okay. And do get in touch with us in case you have more queries about the NATA examination. And do follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our channel, and also download our app, KP Classes Exam Prep. It's really going to be helpful to you for your examination. Okay. So all the best, guys, and take care.